Barring a late change of heart by Rishi Sunak, the next general election will be at some point this year. Before then, he's looking to cram the statute book with as many potential vote winners as he can, possibly 2 pint bottles of wine, who knows. Zoe, first up, are we any closer to a clear idea of when this election is going to be? Because Hunt announced a March the 6th budget over Christmas, which made everybody go mad and bet on a May election. And then this weekend, the Sunday Times has Isaac Livido penciling in November the 14th, which seems like a horrible time for an election. Is there any good dates left for the Conservatives now?
I think we all lost our minds a little bit about the May election budget on the 6th thing. The budget is always about then in March. I don't think it necessarily indicated that there was going to be a May election. I think it would be wise to have a May election for a number of reasons. First of all, they could sort of take away the sting of the locals and by-elections that are coming up. They could also get ahead of all those people who are about to remortgage and get even more angry about the cost of living. They could avoid the influx of small boats that's going to happen as the weather gets better over the summer. And they can ride off the back of a spring budget with lots of tax cuts if they wanted to. But to be honest, I think it probably will be autumn. It probably will be November or late October. And I think that's because Sunak is just a desperate man. He'll push it as long as he can. He doesn't want to go. Why would you get rid of that power? Always going to hope that something might happen. And if you go early, you might always wonder if something would have happened that would have given you that boost. So they're kind of no good dates for the Conservatives to go to the polls because they will lose. But I think they probably should go in May, but knowing Sunak, he'll go in October, November.
It's always too early until you realise it's too late.
Exactly.
I don't think he's going to go in October, by the way. I think if he goes in the autumn, it has to be after the American election because then at least if Trump does well, he can ride that wave a little bit.
But is there a wave of that in Britain? Because even
there's an argument to be made that Starmer would have a tough time
dealing with Trump,
with the states.
But everybody, we've all seen this before. Everybody has a tough time with Trump.
I know.
And if we elected a clone of Donald Trump in this country,
we're not assessing whether these things are right or not. Yeah. We're just saying that's how the story goes. But the point is, if you're going to go then, why would you go the last week of the American pre-election fervour? You would go after. If you think that Trump is going to win, you would go after to suggest there's some kind of...
Yeah. If Trump did win, is there not also an argument that there'd almost be a reverse in that so many people be worried about Trump's victory that they might be more likely to actually vote for Starmer as a more stable government compared to the Conservatives? I mean, you could go either way. You could ride the populist wave, or the populist wave could backfire.
Which is why I think the story about Livido penciling in the 14th of November is... I mean, it's desperate. You see, I think it's going to be May, June. Because as I've said many, many times before, the one strategic advantage you have as Prime Minister is being able to call the election on the date of your choice, right? You wouldn't give that up. And so if the stories coming out are that it's going to be November, then clearly it's going to be May, June, because the whole point is to work your opponents into believing a date other than the date you're actually going to do it on.
And it's better for them to be less prepared and go early.
So the more we hear stories about the autumn, the more convinced I become that it's going to be May, June.
Their best bet of keeping stability, keeping the party together and trying to get on the back of that wave of people thinking maybe the Conservatives will make them better off is riding on the back of tax cuts. It's all they can talk about. They have no other vision.
Promised tax cuts rather than real ones.
Promised tax cuts,
And I think Alex was talking about this on Start Your Week on the Bunker. The big thing that's hanging over the summer is if the weather is nice, there will be more small boats.
Absolutely.
And they absolutely can't go after an increase in small boats. So it's probably... probably on the Glastonbury weekend when all the wokesters are out taking drugs in a field, exactly like the referendum.